Just like hot chocolate and blocks that's hot in the projects, justice is best served with a side of logic. This is Brunch and Budget, the show about personal finance and racial economic inclusion with your host, Pamela Capallan, a certified financial planner and accredited financial counselor here to take the bite out of your budget. I'm your sound provider dialect, and here's your host, Pamela Capallan.
Thank you, Mr. Sound Provider. Hello, everybody. Hello. We are talking about free money for freelancers. Really, it's very unprecedented. The CARES Act has done a lot for freelancers this round in terms of unemployment, in terms of
Before we do any of that, can I just shout out, because I was seeing freelancers in the room. You know, we've been doing our best to support black-owned businesses, and one of the black-owned businesses I saw just pop into chat. If you've seen my album cover or any of our promo photos, they were done by the amazing Ray Maxwell, who I just saw a piece.
Hey!
An amazing photographer who's one of my favorite people, just like we know her and have worked with her, but like in the world in terms of photography and shadows and doing really cool stuff with that. So, you know, if you need some photos done and you're looking to support some black-owned businesses, holler at that one, raymaxwell.com.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Let's get into it. Please, please, please leave your questions. As we go through this, this is a little complicated. It is going to feel a little bit like trigonometry, but we can get through it. And what's been great about the PPP loan is
you can get it and there's money in it.
You can get it and there's so much money left, and lenders have figured out how to streamline this electronically. The big trouble with PPP loans in the first round was, one, banks were cherry picking who they were offering the loans to, and two, the money ran out so fast because of it. And three, the process to do it was all paper, manual handwriting.
It was a mess.
Yeah, it was a mess. But now that they've extended the program again, and they've also extended the forgiveness terms, it's actually going to be free money for a lot of freelancers, for a lot of solo freelancers in particular. So let's dive into it. Let's talk about what the PPP loan is, and then we're also going to touch on Maybe I should start with EIDL.
Why don't we start with EIDL? I think that's a good idea.
Let's start with EIDL, because EIDL is not free money, but
Again,
it is
Economic Injury Disaster Loan, if you want to know what it stands for.
Yes. Economic Injury Disaster
All of these things
loan.
have been thrown around. It's just too many letters.
It's too many letters. It's too many acronyms all the freaking time. Oh, yes! Now I got the EIDL!
Yes!
All right, also, sad news, everybody. Someone just hipped us to the fact that the EIDL loan advances are out.
Yeah, they ran out.
They ran out on Saturday. They had $20 billion allocated to those loan advances, and the loan advances no longer exist, but the loans themselves do exist. And I've been seeing some stuff back and forth about what these loans were, whether or not you should take them. You may have gotten an email about the loan to find out if you qualified and things like that. It is legit. It came from SBA. The Economic Injury Disaster Loans, in contrast to the PPP, were actually issued directly from the Small Business Administration. EIDL has been around for a long time, actually. EIDL, these are the loans that were given in natural disasters. These are the loans that are given to small businesses who lost business because of like big events that they could not have predicted and is not due to the business itself.
Good old acts of God.
Yeah, exactly. So COVID was a big one. And this is the first time that they actually offered loan advances and also really opened it up to any small business or any freelancer. So the thing about the Economic Injury Disaster Loan is they just reopened it to small businesses. As of 6/15, you can get a loan of up to $150,000. The way they determine the amount is they look at the most recent tax return you filed, either 2018 or 2019. So in this case, 2019, since we all filed their taxes 2 days ago, right, everybody? Right, everybody? So the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, what they do is they look at how much money you grossed. So that's your Schedule C. That's how much money you made. They do it before deductions. So let's say you made $100,000 in 2019. Then they're going to take half of that and give you 6 months operating expenses. And what that means is they're going to offer you a loan for $50,000. And this loan is truly, I've never seen a loan like this before offered to a business. So one is, the loan is a 30-year loan term. Most business loans are between 1 to 5 years. The other thing is that the interest rate is 3.75%. So it's as low as a mortgage. This is basically a mortgage type of loan, but for a business. So if you need the money for whatever reason, you have 30 years to pay it off. Just to give you an example, our workshop company, B&B Speaks, received $12,000 in EIDL. and we get to pay $60 a month for 30 years.
Not bad.
To pay that back. That's not bad. That's usually hundreds of dollars every month for a short period of time.
And to shout out Tenor talking about, taxes killing you. That's one of the tough things about this is like, depending on your tax situation last year, this might be really advantageous for you, or you might have gotten left out. If it was if you're building a new business, or if you're having like a downturn year, or if it was a pivoting year, or if you're building a new project, it's...
Yes, yeah.
Which this happened to us too. So
yeah, this
we're
happened
right there
to us
with you.
too. So the thing with EIDL,
you
cannot use it to buy a house. That is a great question.
Because you called it a mortgage. I did.
Yes, no, it is a mortgage-like loan. The reason why it's special and fancy is because usually when you take out a mortgage, the collateral is the house, right? You're like, I agree to pay this loan, and if I don't pay, you can take my house. In this case, with the economic injury disaster loan, it's I agree to pay this loan, and if I don't, then you can take any assets in my business. Now, the assets in my business are a laptop. How in your laptop too?
Yeah, our laptops.
Our laptops are collateral for this 30-year loan. So that's what's interesting.
Probably my hats.
Yes, probably your hats. About the economic injury disaster loan. And I'm glad you asked that, because the economic injury disaster loan, what it is allowed to cover is any business operating expenses. So you paying yourself, whether on payroll or as a 1099 person, you paying any business debt off, so consolidating any debt, also any business utilities, any mortgage payments. It's similar to what the PPP loan you're able to use, but the economic injury disaster loan works in supplement with the PPP loan in a lot of ways.
Hey, we're just jumping into questions.
Yeah, let's
we got
jump into
good
questions.
Ones. Yeah, Blazing Fig is asking, what's the usual interest on a small business loan?
Oh my God, that is a great question.
It's a really good question.
Small business loans, usually the collateral is the business, and for a lot of people, there isn't much in terms of assets in the business. So the interest rate on small business loans I've seen are usually, right now, probably like between 10 to 15%. And usually the terms are between 1 year to 5 years at the most that I've seen for small business loans. It's also usually pretty difficult to qualify for a small business loan because they tend to check your credit, but they also want to see a profit and loss statement. They want to see a couple years tax returns. They want to see balance sheets. They want to see your personal balance sheet, the business balance sheet. So qualifying for a traditional small business loan, which you would take out at a bank, is very difficult, even if it's backed by the SBA. So the fact that the SBA is issuing these loans directly means that it is way easier to get it. All they do is check your credit. They don't even ask for paperwork.
If you don't even know what's going on with what she's saying with the paperwork, but you've ever heard of somebody trying to get a green card through marriage, that's how it's been described, as trying to get a small business loan.
That is
I've been there with people going through both, and it's really true. It's like that. It's so much stuff, and there are so many technicalities.
So much, and so many reasons why a bank can just say no.
Yeah, just straight up. Yeah, they can just be like, yeah, all this stuff is great, but nah.
Yes.
Another one from my invisible knapsack. I love that. I want to get one of those. Can I qualify for the EIDL if I am starting a new business this year? Also a great question.
Yes, unfortunately not. The economic injury disaster loan is only for businesses that existed as of February 15th, 2020 or before.
I wonder if there is going to be anything for the people who are starting new things this year.
I know, that's the thing that hasn't been acknowledged.
It hasn't been addressed at all.
Right, well, because I know that we lost a lot of potential income because all of our gigs got canceled. You as an artist, workshop facilitators.
I had specifically my Museum of Dead Words project, I had done all the proof of concept stuff in 2019 and had booked the big gigs for 2020. So yeah, I was just kind of asked out on those. And I wanted to shout out what Tenor was saying about being a freelancer all of last year, finally on a salary, trying to start a small business here, a clothing cartoon project, which sounds awesome and it's really dope. And I'm sorry that, all of this stuff here is not created to help these growing and starting businesses.
Right, that's the tough part, is the business did have to exist. It's meant to buoy up existing businesses.
It's meant to hold up, be real about it. It's meant to hold up the existing power structure.
Yes.
And the rest of us also can claim a little bit too by, being, hey, on the bottom is still part of the structure.
Yeah. So, this is why we've been talking about this so often, and why we were we already did a PPP episode. We've done 2 workshops on this with Fiverr. And the thing is, these are, again, I have not seen laws like this or anything included in previous acts where small businesses have been able to access loans like this and have been able to access money like this. This is usually reserved for huge corporations who also got a piece of it. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. They get a big chunk of it. That's what I'm saying. But we actually got to get some of it too this time.
Yes. Oh, great.
Shout out from Epiphany. Yes.
Yeah.
One of the biggest barriers to the EIDL is the FICO score.
Yeah.
It has to be at least 570. I've seen people get it with a cosigner. That's really good to know,
Oh, that's really good to know. So if you are in a place where your credit score is not at 570, then you may want to apply for the EIDL with a cosigner. And would you have to list them on the business? I guess that's the question.
Yeah.
I'm not totally sure about that. But yeah, they do check your credit. You will see a ding on your credit. It's a hard inquiry. You are applying for a loan. So you will see it show up and you will see your credit score go down also.
Again, because we can't stop saying it, the only time your credit gets dinged when you are asking for someone to look at your credit is when you are applying for a loan, when you are asking for money.
Yeah. Oh, and it looks like FEFI got some PPP money. Yay!
Yes, that's what's up.
Yes, that is why we're doing this one more time, because the PPP applications got extended to August 8th. So you have until August 8th. You need to have your 2019 taxes filed. For EIDL, I think by now you do need to have your 2019 taxes filed.
Yeah.
I usually am recommending that people take out these loans if they're in a place where they're uncertain about what their business situation is going to be in the next couple years. The thing about EIDL is your first payment doesn't start until 12 months from the day that you take out the loan. So the interest still accrues, but it's not very much, and you have a whole year until you actually have to start paying it back, and then you get 30 years to pay it back. So the thing is, and there's no prepayment penalty. So if you, in a year, you look at it and you start to see the loan payments and you're like, actually I didn't need this money, you can return the full amount in a year.
Can I give some people permission though? Because I think some
feel
people
you.
are listening to what you're saying and they're like, okay, fine, it doesn't seem like that big of a hit, but I know me and I know where I'm at with my money and dealing with loans and stuff, and that's another thing that's too much.
Right.
If we're saying this stuff and it sounds like this is another thing that's too much that you can't deal with, it's okay to let it go.
Yep.
The reason that Pam keeps pushing this and that we're always saying that this is kind of an unprecedented opportunity in terms of loans, and to be real, all of this stuff is risky. All of what we're doing is risky, and these things are even riskier now as the epidemic plus uprising plus the sea change in our technology and the way things are seen with everything. None of our industries are going to do what the things that they thought they were going to do for the next 10 years.
They're not.
It's going to be what it is.
Yes.
If you can't deal with another thing on top of that, I feel you.
That's totally fine.
But-
I'm glad that you said that.
No, I just want to be, I feel like there's so much pressure sometimes on these things to I have to snatch every last piece of these things before it's gone.
Right. No, it's very true.
Do what's best for your business.
Do what's best for your business. Do what's best for you. The loan terms are really incredible. I know, I'll say that again, even after you said what you said.
Yeah.
Because if you are hesitating for whatever reason, and you know that you actually need the money to operate your business in the next year, it could be worth taking it.
Yeah, I guess the second part of that is, the risk isn't hugely outweighing the risk you're already taking by running this business.
Yes, exactly.
We need to give folks grace around these times.
We talk about money personalities all the time, and money personalities in crisis, we are at our extremes right now. So if you are someone who feels like you're going to bury your head in the sand when this loan payment comes through, it might not be worth the stress to take it out. But yeah, let's see. And we got some good comments back here. Oh, let me see. If someone didn't do their taxes, do they qualify for PPP? No.
Yeah, not last year's
Not
taxes.
anymore, yeah. So you have to do 2019 taxes before August 8th. It's fine if you didn't do it past the deadline. If you file an extension or not, you can still file your taxes as long as you do it before August 8th. They're requiring 2019 returns because they were already due.
All the regular penalties still apply,
Yes,
if you're filing
exactly.
late and all that.
Yeah, but yeah, and you got to risk it to gain. I mean, that's true too, Tanner.
Yeah.
You're right.
I mean, that's what we're saying. That's part of this whole thing.
Yeah, that's part of it. But basically, the EIDL can be used for business operating costs. Brunch and Budget also got the EIDL loan, and we got $146,000.
Yeah.
We did all right. And we're going to be using it to cover payroll costs this year and next year, too. Just to make sure that we have all of that in there, covering payroll costs, covering operating costs. Let's start talking about PPP, because the thing about PPP is, while it is backed by the Small Business Administration, it's backed by the SBA, individual banks and lenders are the ones who are issuing the loans. So on top of what the SBA requirements are, banks can make up whatever other requirements they have. So
I think it was who was it, PayPal that was?
PayPal was checking your credit score.
Checking your credit
They're not
score,
supposed to check your credit score for PPP, and PayPal was. Yep, you're totally right? They're going to be like, okay, PPP, here we go. Like, if it's a small local bank who and you have a relationship with them, I've had some clients who they loosened some of the requirements on them because the bank was like, we trust you, we know who you are, all of those kinds of things. And then we've had people who their bank was super strict, and even if they had everything, they needed to give them more.
Oh, wow. You applied through PayPal.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, that's interesting. So I wonder if PayPal...
You know, again, everybody having their own rules, and PayPal
Yep.
being kind of outside of the bank structure allowed them to just be like, we're going to do whatever.
Yeah, I mean, luckily right now we're going to go over where you can apply, but a lot of online lenders are streamlining the process too and making it super easy to just do it online, and they may have looser requirements as well. One of the reasons why banks are excited to do these loans and why a lot of banks cherry pick their big clients is because banks got paid for every single loan that they closed. So, you know, there's incentive to do that.
Word. Can I pull back real quick and ask one more EIDL questions? Actually, let's see, I see Habiba. I haven't even finished reading.
Hello.
Can you use the EIDL loan to pay for professional development like tuition for a graphic design portfolio school?
So technically,
Actually,
you cannot. So you can use EIDL to pay for business operating expenses. What you can do is, instead of paying yourself through your regular business income, you can pay yourself through EIDL, and you can pay for your other business operating expenses through EIDL, and then you can use whatever money you were going to pay yourself for the business income to pay for this graphic design portfolio school. Yeah, so it's a little bit of a loophole.
Well, it's a little nebulous anyway, because
it's nebulous.
I was like, I'm not sure if PD does or doesn't count as operating expenses, depending on your business.
I mean, it's not. EIDL had some specifics, and it was all about operating, utilities, payroll, insurance, things like that.
Okay, so continuing education.
Continuing education wasn't on the list. But again, the thing about the EIDL loans is,
you know, that's so whack, because if you're in education or something like that, it's like, it is mad essential.
Yeah, exactly. So they're not paying for any continuing education for anyone.
Yeah, and Niall, can I ask you? You said, can I refile, adjust my taxes? Can you give us a little more info on that?
Oh yeah.
Because what is that for one of the loans? I mean, like, you can refile.
Yes. I don't recommend refiling your taxes or amending your taxes unless you really feel like there's a need to. The reason why is because all amended returns get hand audited, basically. So they get reviewed by hand by an IRS agent, which means that you are more likely to potentially get audited with an amended return. So I don't recommend it unless you really have a good reason to.
Let's continue on telling folks about the PPP.
Let's do that. Okay.
How do I combine my unemployment and my tiny $1,900 PPP loan?
Oh, that's such a great question. Oh, okay, good. Looking better now. Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, good. So how do you combine unemployment and PPP loan? So this is where it gets tricky. Let's talk about PPP loans, and we'll talk about the relationship between PPP and unemployment, because it is also very, very murky.
Yes. You know, y'all need to wake up and get these loans.
Hell yeah, wake up and get these loans. So let's talk about PPP. The way PPP works is, it's pretty cool. So again, the deadline to apply is August 8th. You can apply if you have any Schedule C income, and just basically that means look on the tax return you just filed or the draft that you just filed, go to your Schedule C form, which is called profit or loss from business income, and see on line 31 if there's a positive number in there. If there's a positive number in line 31, then you're eligible for PPP loan money. And the way PPP works is, as long as you are a freelancer who has Schedule C income, because they expanded the forgiveness to 24 weeks, whatever you apply for as a solo freelancer is going to get forgiven. 100% of it is going to get forgiven. There's a really great Forbes article that Brian Thompson wrote. Brian Thompson, shout out to him. He's a great CFP and JD, and he's been writing amazing Forbes articles about this whole process. And with PPP for freelancers, what they finally ruled on, the SBA, is that 100% of that loan is going to get forgiven. So yeah. And then let's see. Let's go back to that unemployment question.
Oh yeah, okay. Combining the unemployment and the PPP loan. Okay, so yeah, how would you get that working?
So from what we understand, one, the PUA, the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, the extra $600 a week for unemployment, is ending in a couple weeks on July 31st. They also expanded the time period for PPP loan forgiveness to 24 weeks, and they also created a simpler forgiveness form for people like solo freelancers. So from what we understand, that you're just going to probably have to apply for that easier form, and if you wait out the 24 weeks, then you're just going to get the money forgiven anyway, regardless of whether or not you are unemployment. So to answer your question, we think and I say this with a caveat because we don't know, there's no guidance from SBA or any federal unemployment pandemic assistance anything about how those two work together. What we understand based on the rules as they stand now, you can continue to collect unemployment until the 31st, and as long as you make sure you apply for loan forgiveness as a solo freelancer with a Schedule C by the end of those 24 weeks, then that full amount should get forgiven. Whatever amount doesn't get forgiven, if for whatever reason you're not in the situation where you're a solo freelancer, the loan terms are 1% over 5 years. So you can get part of it forgiven. It's not all or nothing. If only part of it qualifies for forgiveness, then the loan terms are really, really, really great. 1% interest over 5 years that you can just pay back in that time, or you can pay back right away. Yeah. Let's see.
Wait, we got another question I want to answer. My father has a small business and applied for a PPP loan but was denied. Should he apply again?
Ooh,
that's great.
I believe that you can apply again. I would apply to a different bank. I don't know if you know why he was denied. Again, a lot of banks, especially in the beginning, made up really strict rules around how they were going to qualify people. Because technically, the bank, even though the SBA is backing it, technically the bank is signing off and saying this person is an eligible lender. So depending on the bank, and we actually do have a report.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it in a second.
We're going to talk about it in a second. Of course, there was discrimination for PPP loans. The PPP loan program was actually supposed to be, in the second round, minority business owners were supposed to be prioritized. The SBA forgot, they say. The SBA did not give any guidance to banks that did not trickle down that minority businesses were supposed to be prioritized. But there's a lot of different options for where to apply now, so your dad might be able to reapply online somewhere.
Ooh, and we got some math. Let's do a little math.
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
So if I got $26K on my C form, what's the estimate of my loan?
All right. I'm pulling out the calculator. Everybody do this. Look up your Schedule C. So let's start 10 or 26K. What you do is you divide that by 12, right? And it is $21.66, which is your average monthly income.
6 repeating, you know.
Yes. Yeah, $21.66. And then you multiply it by 2.5 because you're allowed to borrow up to 2.5 times your average monthly income. So your loan amount will be around $5,416.
Again, to tell you the math, that is dividing it by 12 and then multiplying it by 2.5.
Yes. All right.
So yeah, about $5,000. Does banking with a credit union make it?
Blazing Fig had a question
I'm in the middle of asking this one.
yeah.
I'll get back. We'll circle back to the Blazing Fig one. That's a great one. But does banking with a credit union make a difference? This is a really important question.
Oh, that is a great question. So, banking with a credit union, one, they have to be an SBA approved lender. So not all banks are SBA approved lenders. So you have to make sure that's the case first, right? And then it can make a difference. We've had clients who had relationships with smaller banks who were able to qualify for the PPP loan because their banks knew them.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, the thing about these credit unions is like you don't necessarily have to have a loan out with them for them to be like, oh, you're a valued customer. We want to help you out.
Yeah.
And a lot of these banks are like, we don't know you. You're a number.
Yeah, exactly. So I actually got my PPP loan through a credit union, and I wasn't even an existing customer. So I was a new customer to Brooklyn Co-op Credit Union, and they were issuing PPP loans. They were prioritizing businesses in Brooklyn, and they were prioritizing loan sizes below $250,000 to make sure they were actually giving money to small businesses. And so credit unions often make a difference as long as they're approved SBA lenders. So that's the big trick, is they have to be approved by the SBA.
So let's bring it back to Blazing. You know, every time I see UI, I'm like, is that a coding language? But 100% will be forgiven even if I'm on unemployment insurance.
So we think the answer is yes. We think the answer is yes, but we are not sure. As far as we know, the rules state that that's the case.
Yeah. You have to do your little bit of Googling.
Oh, yes. Yeah. There's actually, if you Google approved SBA lenders, I think SBA.gov has all of the approved SBA lenders on their website. Also, if a credit union or a bank is still taking PPP loans, it's probably right on their website in terms of being able to apply. Yeah. All right. And then, we got another question.
Oh, you have more questions? Oh, yeah. Ooh, here we go. If I made negative money on my Schedule C and I apply for a PPP or EIDL, what happens? Does the loan reverse and I have to pay Uncle Sam? Yeah, that's what happens is they run up on you.
They find you. They're like, give us back the PPP money. So if you made negative money...
Actually, if you are applying for a PPP, you're going to get your money from Nile.
That's the rotation right there. So So if you made negative money on your Schedule C, you don't qualify for PPP loan money, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's why we're saying that, like, it sucks about people who are like downturn or new business or pivoting or anything like that, where it's not gonna,
Right.
it'd be messed up. Be like,
Business loss.
your business has been going on. You've been doing this for 10 years, right? And this is the 1 year you're like, oh, I'm trying something new, so we're at a loss because we did all this
Right.
R&D, and you're asked out.
Yeah, it's
Like I said,
true.
somebody's gonna have to address that at some point, but we'll see.
For EIDL, though, if you go to your Schedule C and you look at your gross receipts, which is line 1 on your Schedule C, you do qualify for EIDL, and you qualify for half of that amount. So if there's $50,000 in line 1, EIDL will offer you a $25,000 loan. So you still can get EIDL money, but not PPP money. You have to have made a profit on your Schedule C, unfortunately. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Look. Oh, yeah, that's another good one. Should I wait until after July 31st when the $600 unemployment stimulus ends to start my PPP loan, or can I start my PPP loan now as a sole proprietor?
So here again is
This is a juggle.
this is the part that we don't know, but from what we understand, based on what the rules are now, we're saying this caveat, disclaimer, all of this stuff. From what we understand, they are going to basically do 100% forgiveness on PPP loans. So I'm gonna look up this Forbes article right now. Brian Thompson. Yeah, I'm gonna look up this Forbes article right now. PPP and then freelancers. Here we go. SBA finally clarifies forgiveness rules. Full forgiveness for self-employed borrowers. That is what the article is called. It's by Brian Thompson. It's a Forbes article, and they basically said that let me see. What does it say specifically? If you're a freelancer wondering if the forgiveness loans will be forgiven, yesterday brought good news. The SBA filed its 19th rule, scheduled to be published on Friday, blah, blah, blah. The unpublished version of the update ensures full forgiveness for self-employed freelancers and independent contractors who took out the maximum loan amount based on 2.5 times their income.
Yo, thanks for putting the link up in there.
Oh my God, thank you!
Invisible knapsack, thank you.
That's
and again,
exactly
shout out
it.
Brian Thompson for looking out for us.
Yes, it's so great. So yes, as a self-employed person, from what we understand, the forgiveness form that you're going to be required to fill out is a simplified forgiveness form because there is very little to calculate. They're basically just going to forgive the full amount. And so we don't know how they're going to take unemployment into account there.
Yeah.
From what we know, it doesn't seem like the two mix at all, if that makes sense. It doesn't seem like because you got unemployment, you don't get the PPP loan forgiveness. It seems like PPP is one thing and unemployment is another thing.
Yeah, we're asking everybody to just document everything they can as much as they have. So when people come to audit you or ask what's going on, you have some kind of narrative you can tell them.
Yeah.
Best we got. I wish we had more.
Yeah.
Another one. I might be booking work soon. Can I still get the PPP and work at the same time?
Yes.
You can. Yes, get the PPP and work.
Yeah, PPP is not designed for people who are unemployed. The confusion happens when you are unemployed as a freelancer and also qualify for PPP. But PPP was designed to help small businesses get through the pandemic. So if you're able to get work still, you still qualify for the PPP.
Yeah, that $600 unemployment is for the time that you can't work or haven't gotten work or there was some gap in getting paid for it. So, you probably or may have qualified for unemployment in the period before you were able to get work.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk about where you can get. Oh, do you have another question?
Well, one very specific one. If I have a meeting with y'all this month, should I wait to apply so that you can be walked through it?
Oh, yeah. So if you already have a meeting scheduled, our financial planner will walk you through it. We'll walk you
somebody
through
on the
actual
team is going to walk
process.
you through.
Yeah, whoever you have it scheduled with will do that.
Oh, and another one. I work for Everyday People. Actually, how I got introduced to it. Yo, shout out Everyday People. We love Everyday People.
We do.
Every version of Everyday People. So, we're out of play for a long time. I'm trying to rack up everything I possibly can. Oh, thanks. Oh, really glad to learn all these things. I thought there was a question at the end of it. I was just reading cold. But thank you for the love. We appreciate it.
Yes. Oh, I will say there's, I think, only 1 or 2 appointments left before the deadline for PPP. So,
Yeah, if you want to make an appointment, reach out quickly.
like
please
right
soon.
now. BrunchAtBudget.com.
I mean, this is again why we're doing this live here now.
Yes, exactly. Because there are a lot of questions. Also, I will say,
Also, keep asking questions now. It's all
please
good,
keep
y'all.
asking questions now. Let's talk about where to apply because it's actually, with a lot of these online lenders, not that difficult to apply. So we actually have a report from NCRC. I don't know if you wanted to. go
Okay,
into
yeah.
that
Well,
already.
this is not the exciting, happy part.
No.
This is the doom and gloom. So, the National Community Reinvestment Coalition, who Deidre Casante Muhammad Ahmed works with, that we do the Preach to the Choir show, they released a report about lending discrimination within the PPP, and it's all the stuff that you're expecting.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to read this straight out. So the difference in treatment that they found, this is their big thing. A fair lending analysis of the individual matched pair test found that 27 out of the 63, 40% of tests, revealed a difference in treatment in violation of fair lending laws. We observed a difference of treatment experienced by the black testers through difference in levels of encouragement, difference in products offered, difference in information provided, and a difference in the information requested. Of the 17 different financial institutions tested in the audit, 13 institutions had at least one test that showed the control tester was favored. Black females received worse treatment in 59% of the tests that we found a difference of treatment in. Overall, there were 49 different instances of discrimination that black testers experienced.
63 people.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So that was a smallish, but enough of a sample size for folks to see the discrimination that's going on.
This is specifically for PPP loans too. So this is like brand new 2020 COVID pandemic, and they couldn't. So the way they tested it is because you. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and by the way, I don't know anything about unemployment getting extended.
Oh, we don't know.
Yeah,
I wish we did.
like my general feeling is like
Probably not.
I don't feel like it is. Just the way that the federal government has been on the like next step stuff. It's like reopen this, that, and the other thing. I feel like they're not going to do that. But
Yeah.
like this is me not knowing anybody behind the scenes there.
Yeah, yeah, well, and yeah, sadly unsurprising. Yeah, my invisible knapsack. Yeah, it's true. And the way that they did it was actually on the phone. So they used names that were black sounding names, and they tested the voices to see if you could perceive someone's race through their voice, so that they could tell who was black and who was white, basically.
Very similar to the Greg and Emily test, where they had ethnic sounding names, black sounding names, Latino sounding names on resumes.
Yeah. So they did this over the phone, and this happened over the phone. So what's great about where you can apply now is that there's a lot of places you can apply electronically. I would try your existing bank because they might have electronic ways to do it. I would avoid calling because of studies like this if you can. And there's actually a really great article from bench.co on a list of PPP lenders. The ones that clients have had success with are Cabbage with a K. That's been the big one. We've had people apply at PayPal, so even if they check your credit, there, as you saw, their standards or their rules for approving the application are a little less strict. Lendio, Fundera, Funbox, Blue Vine, and then all the big banks are still doing it too. Yeah, it's absolutely horrifying, Valerie. It's, yeah.
Yeah, well, I was just looking through. I was gonna bring up some things, like some of the specifics about it. Like the thing that really bugs me, I think, is the advice and encouragement part, because it's the part that feels the most familiar to me, that like I know these stories and I've been in these situations myself. And like there's this one where like a black tester called and they were told before receiving any information about products they would need to come into the bank in person. The quote is, "She told me that since I was not a current blank bank customer, that she would have to physically identify me. She offered to make an appointment for me to come in through the drive-thru so she could identify me and view my state-issued ID and driver's license. The white tester was given specific information about the line of credit and secured loan, including interest rates, fees, and approval times." The white person did not have to come in for any of that. They just gave them all of that.
In a pandemic?
Yeah, I mean, they were like, hey, you can do a drive-thru, but they were like, we need you to come in because otherwise... So, like, there's these barriers that are put up, these things where we're asking you. It's why we often talk about, you know, the Zuckerberg kind of thing of like, folks with wealth, they can take risks. But when you don't have wealth, it's not a risk. They're asking you to make a sacrifice.
Damn, that's real. I mean, one thing that I want to address too is that there are a lot of people who I've run across when we talked about PPP who said, you know what, I don't really need it. My business is actually doing fine right now. Like, I want to leave that money for the people who really need it.
Yeah.
Kanye just got a PPP loan for $2 million, y'all. The Lakers got a PPP loan for $4 million. Shake Shack was shamed into returning their $10 million PPP loan that they didn't need either. So you can get your PPP
Wait, the Lakers
loan.
didn't even get theirs back?
Nope. I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah. No, it is wild. So the thing is, oh, there's the baby.
There's the baby. Keep talking.
Yes. So the thing is, you should apply for this money. We don't know what this year is going to be like at all. We don't know what's going to happen. And this money is yours. This money is there for you. There's still over $100 billion left in PPP.
If you don't know what to do with it and there's other folks who would need it, at least you got it so you know how to direct it to them.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. You're literally filling out a meeting right now. Yes. So PPP will probably not run out. There's $130 billion left. And that's why they extended the program, because all of the money didn't get taken out. Just to give you some perspective, $130 billion is, oh my God, what is it? Like a million millions? Yeah, so the loan sizes that are coming out are like $5,000, $20,000, $50,000. So I don't think the money is going to run out. Also, from what we've seen and what we encourage is try applying yourself. Try going on Cabbage, try going on Bluevine, try going on any of these online lender sites. If you Google PPP loan lender, you'll find a list really easily. Oh, you'll find a list really easily, and the application is actually not that crazy. It's the supporting documents that sometimes trip people up, like if they're asking for your tax return or your business bank account statement or something like that. But the application itself isn't too crazy. What I would suggest is try applying yourself now before you book the appointment. And if you run into any issues, at least you will have started the application already and you know what questions you have. So I would definitely start there. Let's see. And then can you get a PPP and have W-2 income? Yes, you can. Yes. Yeah, that's the best part. Oh yeah. We have
the youth.
He woke up from his nap. Oh, hello.
He's like, are y'all talking about PPP?
We are talking about PPP, and you always.
He was like, his Kaz in the house was waiting for Kaz.
Right? So you can get a PPP loan and have W-2 income as long as you also have Schedule C income. Mm-hmm. So you can have W-2 income now, from what we understand, as long as you had Schedule C income last year. Yes, America knows how to waste money, so I had to ask. Damn.
You're right.
That's so real. Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the tough things about all of this money stuff and what we're doing here is like we're seeing lots of ways, we're seeing lots of misuse, lots of discrimination, and you're like, well, what can I do? And like, if I ask for a little bit, am I contributing to the glut?
Yeah, no.
And I understand that. I really understand that instinct.
Yeah. But this is an unprecedented program. This money is for freelancers. This money is to help keep us afloat. So take it.
Here's a good question. Shout out. What sites or places do you trust who you think do good work for doing taxes?
I love that question.
Yeah, we actually had someone on one of our last studio sessions before we started doing it from Instagram Live.
Yeah.
Treehouse Taxes.
We love them.
We love them. They're really great people. We what was the episode number? Do you remember the episode number?
No, but it was recent. It was in February.
Yeah, it was very recent. You can find it. Look up Treehouse. All it's one word, taxes. They came and spoke to us, and they do a lot of really great work.
They're so great. Also, if you go to brunchandbudget.com/accountant, you'll find their info on there as well. Yeah, and don't use TurboTax. Do not use TurboTax. They make you pay anyway. You may as well pay an accountant. I love that comment. Yes.
Thank you. I joined late, but did I hear y'all say PPP requires an operating profit and not a loss in the 2019 tax return?
Yes, yeah. So your Schedule C, line 31, has to have a profit, and the reason why is that's how the loan amount is calculated. So we did it earlier with Tenor, and you take your 2019 profit on your Schedule C, so line 31, you divide that number by 12, and you multiply it by 2.5, and that's what your loan amount is. And so if you have a loss, then you won't qualify for PPP loan, unfortunately. But you do qualify for EIDL. So the EIDL loan is not forgivable, but if you need some money to have some runway for your business, I highly recommend applying for the EIDL loan. Oh, I gotta finish my app.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I like that. You can use TurboTax, but only directly through the IRS site. Thank you for the clarity and specificity.
Yes.
It would be nice to see them expand the amount of PPP received, but only received enough to sustain my business for you only received enough to sustain your business for 2 months. Yeah. Well, that's the thing that sucks about these huge businesses who have runway already and they're going to be fine for the next couple months, if not couple years.
It's true.
Is that they're getting these huge sums of money that I know a number of smaller businesses and growing businesses ought to be getting.
Yeah, and could have used in the first place. The reason why the 2.5 months of expenses actually came up is because the government thought this was going to be over in 2.5 months when they first put out the CARES Act.
By the way, I know that we've like gotten re-swept up in the whole political president thing being the whole be-all, end-all of like what we vote for. But as we're being like, yo, I don't really know what's going on with these developing businesses. Remember that we're all citizens too, and that should be something that comes up for next election. Is like, what's going on with that?
All right. Oh, yes. Question.
Yeah, if you owed taxes last year, can you still get it? If you're talking about the PPP?
Yes. As a freelancer, you probably did owe taxes last year because you made a profit.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as a freelancer, yes.
Yeah. So if you had a profit in your Schedule C, you most likely owe taxes because that's just the byproduct of being a freelancer. So absolutely, yeah.
And just giving the math. Yep. If you made 115, then it would be 115 divided by 12 multiplied by 2.5, and that would be how much you're eligible for.
That's exactly it. That's the math. That's the math. And a lot of these online lenders will do the math for you. So they're going to ask you, what did it say on line 31 of your Schedule C? And then they run it through their calculator and they'll tell you, you probably qualify for this loan size. So what's great about that
24 grand.
All right. Ooh. That's a good loan amount.
Yeah.
So, wait. One caveat though, you're only allowed to apply for up to 100K of income.
Oh.
Yeah, so if you're a solo
right.
freelancer, you're only allowed to apply for up to 100K. So it's capped at 20,000 something.
Yeah, so that'd be around 20 grand.
Yeah, so that's something to keep in mind too. You can only get a bigger loan if you have other employees that you're covering their payroll for. Yes, that is a great question. Okay.
What else we guys talk about finishing up for
I have some
PPP?
lingering, frequently asked questions that often come up. Common questions. Can home office expenses be forgiven?
Right.
Yes,
Yes,
they
they
can.
can.
Yeah, so you can actually write off your home office if you're in a situation. Oh, you know what we didn't talk about is if you have an S corp. So if you have an S corp, you're not looking at your Schedule C. You're actually going to be basing your PPP loan amount on what you paid yourself through payroll. Mm-hmm. So if you have an S corp, you are required to run payroll for you to be able to qualify for it. Yeah, and then 20G cool, and you don't have to pay any of it back. No, as long as you remember to apply for forgiveness. In 24 weeks, you do not have to pay the PPP loan back at all. It's amazing. They extended the forgiveness period to 24 weeks. And someone, if you scroll back in the comments, actually posted a Forbes article that confirmed that for all solo freelancers, the loan will be 100% forgiven. It's super annoying that they call it a loan if they're just saying like, it's a grant, but if you don't use it the right way, then you have to pay it back.
Well, that's the part of being having to apply for forgiveness. It's like the Publishers Clearinghouse. If you guys ever applied for one of those, they're betting on a few people not asking for it back.
Yeah. And then how do you calculate how much income is forgiven? We've talked about that already.
No, that's good. Blazing Fingers, like I thought you said you had an S corp. I mean, if your escort has an S corp.
Yeah, I bet a lot of escorts have an S corp. That's a really great tax structure. I would definitely recommend that, actually.
I would really love to listen to that band. That would be a great band. Escorts with S corps.
Escorts with S corps. I would listen.
It'd be
to
all
that
about
too.
like pro-sex work, anti-capitalism.
Hell yeah! I'm so down for that. I want to do their financial planning.
Start that band, y'all. Any genre.
Any genre.
I was trying to think. I was like, would that be a good rap group? Would that be a good rock band? What would they play? And it doesn't matter.
Or they could also just be escorts, like actual escorts. With
No, they would. But I also want to hear them play music.
Multi-talented.
I want to go to their concerts.
I'm so down. I love it.
Stephen King is in a rock band.
Oh, he is multi-talented.
Yeah, with other writers. I don't know if it's good. I'm just saying.
So what happens to the unforgiven loan amount? That's another common question. If there is any loan amount that is not forgiven for whatever reason, you can pay it back at 1% interest over 5 years. Yes, heavy EDM. We already got the genre.
There you go. That's actually perfect.
I love it. And then do they check your credit? We talked about this before. The SBA does not require the lender to check your credit, but the lender can choose to check your credit. Most lenders are not checking your credit. We know PayPal definitely is checking your credit. A lot of other lenders are not, including the online lenders that we mentioned. I just want to mention them again. Bluevine, Lendio, Fundera, Cabbage with a K is again a place that a lot of our clients were able to actually get loans really easily and successfully. Their interface was really easy to use. I do recommend them just from personal experience. And then is the forgiven amount subject to taxes? So that's a question.
That's a great question.
It's tricky. I used to think the answer was just no, and technically the answer is no. The forgiven amount is not subject to taxes. The caveat is the forgiven amount, you cannot take any deductions on the forgiven amount. So if you get it, yeah.
So it's not exactly that it's not subject to taxes. It's not subject to taxes that you have to pay out later?
Yeah. So the way that it works is, let's say you got that $20,000 loan, you made $50,000 more that year, you have $70,000 of expenses still, or you have, let me see, no, you have a $50,000 income, you have $20,000 PPP loan that was forgiven, and you have, $60,000 of expenses, let's say. So that PPP money, you can't deduct any of the expenses against that PPP money. So it's a little tricky. Talk to your accountant. Our accountant told us that, and I was like, I don't even really get it, y'all. But it's technically not subject to taxes. Unemployment is subject to taxes, but PPP loans are not subject to taxes.
Even though there's like, sort of tax.
Even though there's this
sort of tax happening, but
this like very, very strange loophole. Very, very strange loophole. Yeah.
Should we shout out all the deadlines?
Let's shout out all the deadlines. I love it. I'm glad
my
you said that.
glasses taken away from me, so can you shout that out?
I'll shout out all the deadlines, yes. So, pandemic unemployment assistance, the extra $600 a week is ending July 31st. The deadline for PPP is August 8th. And the deadline for EIDL, as far as we know, is December 31st. But the SBA has taken away and put back this loan in the last 3 months, so we don't know what's gonna happen. So yes, Kaz, you take -10. Yeah, you take a business loss of -$10,000. I think is what I understand. Oh, you do your own Schedule C? Of course you do.
Right.
Of course you do. I'm not surprised. And then we had a question also. I applied for EIDL on July 1st and haven't received the advance. I saw a Forbes article post. Yes, Valerie BRMNT. You were the one who actually gave us a heads up on the fact that the advances had run out on July 11th. I'm not sure if people who put in applications before the 11th are going to get their advances. That's the big question mark. Oh, and then you have another great question.
Yeah, is the EIDL grant deducted from the forgiven PPP? Oh, that's so great.
It is, yes. That is a great question. I know. So the EIDL, if you got the 1K grant, then 1K of your PPP loan is not forgivable. So you may want to use that EIDL grant to pay off the remaining 1K on your PPP, or you can it's a 1% interest over 5 years. It's basically free money in and of itself based on that loan structure. So you can also just pay it back slowly over 5 years, that $1,000, if you don't want to pay it back right away. Not a big deal at all.
Thank you. A lot of great questions from.
Yes.
Thank you for in chat and in the thing. Oh yeah, I'm sorry if I missed this before, but where can you apply? I have a really good relationship with Bank of America. Should I go through with them?
Yeah, so Bank of America is only taking applications until July 24th. But if you do have a good relationship with them, I'm guessing all the big banks by this point, I know Chase definitely does, they have online applications. So it should be pretty easy to apply through Bank of America. I know there was some drama with Bank of America not accepting certain customers, even though they were customers for PPP loans.
Well, as we were discussing in the report by NCRC that, we will also make available in the show notes so you can check that out. There's a lot of that stuff going on.
Yes.
Whenever I see Bank of America, I always think in the initials. I always think boba. I was like, what? Boba?
Ooh, that sounds like a delicious bank.
I'm really messed up with all the initials today. I was looking at Valerie's thing and I was like, Valerie, is your last name Big Red Mutant Ninja Turtle? But
Ooh.
My bad if that's not. I'm just guessing here.
Oh, you guys are so welcome. But yeah, so you can go through Bank of America. You can also go through one of these lenders that we mentioned before. Again, a lot of these online lenders are really have been super easy to go through. I've helped a number of clients open PPP
I think
loans.
the whole thing with these online lenders is it's kind of their time to shine.
Yeah.
Everybody trusts the banks, and for a lot of things like this, people wouldn't mess with them. People wouldn't think of messing with PayPal, and PayPal's like, hey, we're here.
Yeah, we're here.
It's probably why that they instituted the credit check thing, because I wouldn't be surprised if they got overwhelmed.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. And Cabbage with a K, their actual loan products are kind of sucky. They are. I've looked at them. But they're great on their PPP loan technology.
Wow, Boba Fett. That makes
Yes.
that makes a lot of sense. It's made a whole bunch of money. It's really popular, and it dies really easy. You don't infuse it with a ton of money. Makes sense.
Oh man. It's a Now we're talking about Valerie's last name.
Yes, consonants.
I love it.
There's a Twitter account that only posts Wikipedia entries that rhyme with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's a really fun one.
That's a really good one.
Random stuff.
Okay, and then one final comment. I think this is great. Can you read it?
Oh yeah. I think with Bank of America and Chase, you need to have a business account with them. That's really important.
Probably true.
Yes.
Oops. Okay. All right. I think we gotta sign off, y'all. This baby
Let's sign off.
is hungry.
We'll give you our last artist. It's a song called Free Money. This one coming from Italia. So I don't know exactly what they're saying. And the word bambino and some other words like that come up. So if they say a bunch of horrible stuff, my bad. But it's called Free Money from Monkey Marcos. And we'll check you guys next time. Thank you. Y'all all rock. Thank you. This is Brunch and Budget. If you guys have questions about any of this stuff, please feel free to reach out. We know that the deadlines are coming up soon. Make an appointment as possible. Leave stuff in the comments. Hit us up on any of the socials, any of the things. If you're feeling the show, if there's other things that you want to know, other areas that you want us to go into, other types of discrimination you want to find out, hate us, rate us, debate us, and all the places that you know. Thanks, y'all. We love y'all. Be well. Keep it on going. Peace.